Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. Today we have A Bug's Life from Pixar. This, I believe, is the second film from out of the Pixar studio through Disney, and this tells the tale of Flick the bug, the ant, I should say. Flick the ant. He lives in an ant colony on a little sort of island in the middle of a dried up, I guess, little riverbed kind of thing, or I'm not sure, but it's a little secluded colony, and he's inventive. He's got all these crazy ideas about how to gather food, and he's not really appreciated in his time. But yeah, he tries to help, but he's the leadership, including Princess Atta, the heir apparent to the colony, under the main queen, who's just named the queen in this. Their job is to gather food, not just for themselves, but for a collection of grasshoppers who are super mean, and they don't want to do their own collecting of food. They get the ants to do it, and it's sort of like a protection racket. They say that there's other creatures out there ready to kill them all. Well, that's what they say. But they seem to be the real danger here. And, story unfolds from there. This is an hour and 38 minutes long. It's from 1998. And, there's a few little references to Toy Story here and there. Especially, by the way, stay till during the credits. There's a blooper reel. Yeah, while I'm thinking of that, I have to say it. So yeah, this is one of those unsung classics of the Pixar realm. Everybody talks about Toy Story and Cars and Inside Out and all these other ones, but this one's sort of kind of a forgotten gem, even though it had its own section of the Disneyland park in California Adventure for a long time, and it was mostly a kiddie ride area. But by the way, I've ridden on all the rides. It helps to take an 8-year-old with you. Even it's not my own, it was my friend's. They let me borrow her. Anyway, but yeah, that section's gone now. They've demolished Bugs Land, and they're putting in the Avengers campus right now. That's a side story, but yeah, it was a prominent little area, and it's now gone. But that shows the impact of this movie. This movie is kind of very relevant today. About 55 minutes in, the grasshoppers are sort of hanging out in their own little place, waiting for the time for the last leaf to fall when they promise to return to the ants to get the food that they are owed them. Double rations this time since they failed the first time, thanks to Flick. Kevin Spacey plays Hopper, the main bad guy, the leader of the grasshoppers. And some of the other grasshoppers are like, well, why do we even need to go back to them? We're pretty happy the way we are here, and we don't need to worry about going back to the ants. And he's like, well, it's kind of the principle. One ant stood up to us, and when one ant stands up to us, well, more ants might stand up to us. So it's our job. We got to keep them in line. We're higher in the social scale than they are. There's tiers and things like that. They're lesser than us. It's kind of some of you will get what I'm saying. But anyway, some people have shared it as a meme every so often, a video on different social media platforms, making it very, very relevant to what's going on these days. But yeah, it's beyond that little political bent. This is a fun little movie. Tons and tons of actors you'll recognize beyond Kevin Spacey. Dave Foley plays Flick, and Flick, if you would have told me that one of the actors from The Kids in the Hall was ever going to be the lead voice in a Disney film, I would have not have believed you. If you don't know who The Kids in the Hall are, well, if you're old enough, you should look them up. It's some very funny, weird, crazy sketch comedy. Beyond those guys, we have Julia Louis-Dreyfus as Princess Ada, Seinfeld, Veep. Hayden Panettiere as Dot when she's really super little. She's a little kid here in 1998. Right around this time, she also did Remember the Titans, I think, and she was super little in that as well. So she plays this little tiny princess Dot, who is eventually going to take over from Ada at some point. But the Queen is played by Phyllis Diller. This is one of the crazy great things about the Disney name working in their favor. I mean, maybe if Pixar themselves may have just approached Phyllis Diller and she would have been like, "Oh, you want me to play a bug? You want me to play a queen ant?" But the Disney name probably lent a little bit of weight to that request, and they got Phyllis Diller, classic comedic actress, to play the Queen. Richard Kind is in this. David Hyde-Pierce from Frasier plays Niles, plays a stick bug. Joe Ranft, he is a director, co-director. He's one of the original guys from Pixar, and he passed away not long after I think Cars was made. I made a reference to him earlier. I think he co-directed Cars, or one of those recently. We've seen a few Pixar films in the last few weeks, and I think Cars was one of those, and that's. He is known for doing the voice of Heimlich, the beloved Heimlich, the very German accented caterpillar. You know, he's hilarious. Dennis Leary plays a ladybug who's not very ladylike. She's Jonathan Harris as Manny, a very how do you say, haughty kind of actor. Who's a praying mantis. Madeline Kahn plays a gypsy moth. Bonnie Hunt plays a black widow. We got John Ratzenberger again, of course, playing P.T. Flea, the leader of the circus. And Roddy McDowall shows up in this. Edie McClurg, Alex Rocco. Got so many different freaking names. But yeah, they got a problem. Going back to the story, they got a problem with these caterpillars. These grasshoppers shaking down the ants, and the ants can't produce enough food to feed themselves as well as these grasshoppers. These greedy, oppressive, monstrous grasshoppers. And Flick sets out to find some bugs who will fight for them. And he comes across a team of circus bugs, the P.T. Flea circus group, and they think they're taking on a new job rather than a new job entertaining rather than fighting, and it's a secret they've got to keep from the other ants when suddenly Flick is told that they have no intention of fighting anybody. So yeah, it all sort of unfolds from there. I don't want to ruin anything for you if you haven't seen this. There's a lot of kids who've ridden like the Bugs Land rides back in the day and have never seen the movie. I don't doubt that one bit. And I'm sure there's a lot of people here. I mean, Toy Story obviously is the kind of movie that everybody shares with their kids these days, the whole series. But A Bug's Life is not as well known. So it's one of these things that if you haven't seen this thing yet, come on, it's time to get on it. It's one of these things, I mean, start over. Toy Story is a movie about looking at things that are in a different perspective. We're used to seeing toys from our point of view, and in Toy Story we see the world from the toys' point of view. Everything's big and everything else. And this sort of continues with that, because A Bug's Life is definitely from the bug's point of view. Everything is gigantic. When Flick goes to the city, everything is built out of giant boxes and cans and rotten things that we see as just garbage laying on the ground. So yeah, it's definitely a different perspective type of film, and this is where they really get to test the limits of their animation at the time. Remember, this is 1998, so it's only 3 years after Toy Story, and they made some leaps and bounds technology-wise between Toy Story and A Bug's Life, because the amount of characters on the screen, like just showing hundreds, if not thousands, of bugs, all moving semi-independently of each other, just applauding or running or things like that. It's some stuff that takes a lot of computing power as compared to maybe having a dozen characters, all of the relative same size, acting at the same time. The idea of having a lush, detailed background, plants and ground and everything else in relation to thousands of ants and grasshoppers and other types of bugs is honestly, it's a big undertaking. If you ever look at the documentaries and things like that of involved the making of this thing, it was no small feat, and it was a major leap in technology to make this film. So yeah, again, this is not 2020. This is 1998. So more 22 years ago. It's time for you to, if you get a chance, to really take this movie in and appreciate it for what it is. It's something to see. Yes, at the same time, there was a movie called Ants that came out. You know how there seems to be always two studios trying to make the same movie but slightly different? There's 2 volcano movies, 2 asteroid movies, 2 all sorts of disaster films at the same time. And here was 2 movies about ants at the same time, both 3D animated. But this is Disney Pixar. It's got the heart. It's got what's his face? Randy, the guy who did the music for Toy Story. His song in this one is not as memorable. Randy Newman is not as memorable, and it's not easy to sing. It's not like You've Got a Friend in Me. It's just Randy rambling, and then you forget what the song is. Just you watch the credits for those you want to watch the credits for those bloopers. So not for the Randy Newman song. So anyway, this is an underrated classic. I think you should take a chance if you haven't seen it, or if you haven't seen it in a long time. I honestly haven't seen it probably since 98 or 2000 or whatever. I have it on Blu-ray and everything else, but I honestly haven't seen it in forever. So take another shot. It's on Disney Plus, of course. Let's pick tomorrow's episode. 674. One extreme to the next. 674. 6, 7. Oh, wait. We've had this before, and it shows up as the Sorcerer's Apprentice short. I don't think it exists. And if I marked it black, it means that I checked that and it does not exist. So I'm not going to search for it. We're just going to pick another one. Yeah. All right, here we go. 250. 250. Because, I mean, The Sorcerer's Apprentice is part of Fantasia. It's part of... And that was the Mickey animated short, not the Nicolas Cage movie. That one hasn't even been added yet. That will be added next month, I think. I'm not sure. Oh, okay. This is a very odd titled documentary. I don't know if it's a documentary single episode or a series, but we haven't had a documentary in a little while. But it might be relevant to some people's interests. Let's check out How Dogs Got Their Shapes. How Dogs Got Their Shapes. That, we're going to be learning about a lot of inbreeding. And, yeah. So, should be interesting. How Dogs Got Their Shapes in the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Bye.